Hello everyone and welcome back on the channel Walking in His Name. Today we are entering one of the most serious, mysterious and revealing moments in the life of Jesus, his 40 days in the desert. This is not just a story about temptation, it's a revelation of who Jesus is and who we are called to become. In the silence of the wilderness, Christ confronts the enemy not with power but with the scripture. And that's what we are called to do. Confront the devil with the power of Scripture, not with strength alone. Not with miracles, but with trust. Not with shortcuts, but with obedience. If you've ever felt tested, empty, or spiritually dry, this gospel is speaking directly to you. Let's go into the desert with Jesus. We have to remember that the gospel opens with a surprising detail. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. The Spirit leads him there. Not the devil, not chance, not misfortune. The same Spirit who descended on him on the Jordan now drives him into a place of hunger, silence, and vulnerability. This echoes Israel's story. Israel wandered 40 years in the desert. Jesus will wander 40 days without eating, with hunger, with pain. Israel was called God's son in Exodus. Jesus is the true Son of God, reliving Israel's journey but succeeding where Israel failed. Deuteronomy says God led Israel into the desert to test what was in their heart. Now the Son reveals to us what was in his heart: absolute trust in God and his plan. We enter the first temptation of Jesus: turn stones into bread. After 40 days, Jesus is hungry, very hungry. The devil begins with a simple suggestion: if you are the Son of God, command these stones to become bread. This is not about food, it is about identity. The devil is whispering, prove who you are, use your power for yourself. Jesus answered with Scripture. One does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. This is the temptation of self-sufficiency, to fill our emptiness with something other than God, to satisfy hunger without listening to the Word. We face this temptation constantly, when we numb ourselves with distractions, when we try to control life instead of trusting, when we seek comfort instead of meaning. Jesus teaches us, hunger is not the enemy. Hunger is the place where God speaks. The second temptation is the temple parapet. The devil now quotes Scripture, a chilling detail. He takes Jesus to the temple and says, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you. This is the temptation to manipulate God, to force God's hand, to demand signs, to make faith into spectacles. How many times we demand signs from God? Me, myself, I do it sometimes. But that's a temptation from the devil. We have to be mindful of this. Jesus replies, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test. This echoes Israel at Massah, where they demanded water and asked, is the Lord among us or not? We test God when we say, if you love me, prove it. If you're real, fix this now. If you care, remove this suffering. Jesus refuses to turn faith into performance. He trusts the Father without conditions. The third temptation is the kingdom of the world. Now the devil drops his mask. He shows Jesus all the kingdom of the world and says, all these I shall give to you if you will worship me. This is the temptation of power without the cross. Glory without sacrifice, a kingdom without love. Jesus answers, the Lord your God shall you worship, and him alone shall you serve. This is the climax. The devil offers Jesus a shortcut, a Messiah without suffering. But Jesus too chooses the Father's way, the way of the cross, and he will choose it again in the Gethsemane, when he will say, not my will, but your will be done. But Jesus chooses the way of the cross. This moment anticipates Gethsemane, as we said, not my will but yours be done, and it echoes Philippians 2. Jesus did not grasp at equality with God. He emptied himself. The desert is the first battle of a war that will end on Calvary. The meaning of the desert for us is something that we should try to understand. The desert is not just a place, it's a spiritual condition. We enter the desert when prayer feels dry, when life feels empty, temptations intensify, and God seems silent. But the desert is where identity is forged. It is where false gods die. It is where the heart becomes free. Each temptation reveals a human wound. Bread is the wound of insecurity. Temple, the wound of fear. Kingdoms, the wound of ambition. Jesus heals each wound by trusting the Father. This is why Hebrews says, He was tempted in every way, yet without sin. Not to avoid our struggle, but to enter it with us. And then there is the last passage, the victory and the angels. After the third temptation, the devil leaves him, the devil flees, and then something amazing happens. And beautiful. Angels came and ministered to him. This mirror Elijah in 1 Kings 19, exhausted under the broom tree, fed by angel. It mirrors Psalms 91, the very psalm the devil misused, now fulfilled in the right way. God does not abandon us in the desert. He strengthens us after the battle. He sends grace when the struggle ends. The angels come not before the temptation, not during the temptation, but after the temptation. This is the rhythm of spiritual life. If you are in a desert right now, a place of hunger, silence, or testing, remember this. Jesus has been there before you, and Jesus is there with you even right now in your desert. He knows the landscape, he knows the enemy's voice, and he knows the way out. Temptation is not a sign of weakness. Remember the saints of the desert, they were tempted. But temptation is not a sign of weakness, they became saints. So it is a sign that God is shaping your heart for something greater. If this reflection helped you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who needs strength for their own desert journey. May Christ walk with you, speak to you, and fight for you in every wilderness of your life. God bless you. See you next Sunday.